Why, hello, welcome back to City Skylines 2. My name is Dava, and today we are back in the city of Davesport. Today is the big day, where we finally get to build our entire airport within the city of Davesport, which is what it was intended to be. We're going to build an entire industrial landscape alongside this vast sea of land that we're looking at right now. And we're also going to take part in building the highway, actually. The highway that connected further off to the right that didn't go anywhere, that we built last time in the Interchange. With that also comes a little recap of all the things that we've done prior on stream and on the last video. There were some little additions that we did as well. So with that being said, let's hop into the game. Before we begin, let's do a little recap of the things that we did before and on stream. So before the previous video, we built a little pier. We've added a bus stop alongside as well, or a bus lane rather, to be placed all alongside Cypress Avenue, as well as another port or another pier on the upper side with another little station over here. And they are, or appear to be, using this as much as they can. Also, I must say, since the last video, I put it in the video as well, but the homelessness has resided. They appear to go away whenever I load the game. Every time the population just keeps decreasing for some reason. A little bit odd, but if you have the mod Infoloom can tell you how much homeless you have total by scrolling onto the chart down here. You can see the little homelessness demographic. So I only have 1,316 homeless compared to 71,000 that I had before in the last video. And you would oftentimes see homeless camping around in your parks and everywhere, but they don't do that as much. I would presume that problem has been fixed. Also, I left my little FPS monitor up here, just so you can see as I scroll through the game, just in case you wanted to know. I do tell you my specs often, just in case you want to compare the two together. So I'll leave these specs up here in case you're curious. As well as we also continue to build our train going forward. I said I would do this last time on stream, or in the last video, and I did this on stream, build this on stream. So we continue the train going further downward, and we expanded the station just by one and pulled the highway out. This isn't a finalized kind of station or exit. This is a really bad exit, I should say, but it's just something that'll get people going for the time being. I just wanted to see cars just use this road just a little bit. Some do, but most don't, because nothing really over here as of now. But the trains, they do pass within a trench. They're designed to be in a 4-track pattern. However, some tracks I've designed to be abandoned. So you'll see here that some tracks will literally just have nothing, just grass going over them. As well as, yeah, see over here, just abandoned in the far corner. Yeah, they're designed to be 4 tracks, but I made it 2, just to make it look like there was history to it. You don't want to build, too many tracks to go over here, but there's no need for 4 tracks to come through here, I should say. Until we get to this section. This is where our commuter train, half of our commuter train, I should say, will pass down through here and make our way down to the coastline all the way into the other portion of landscape over here. I wish I had that mod to expand the tiles, because I really would like to build, out here on this small island as well, but you can't really do that with that mod. You have to start a whole new map over. But continuing on to the trench, we built the train within the lower foundation here. Now don't do what I do. This was an inspiration from Chicago. You oftentimes see Chicago trains, typically freight, sometimes Amtrak, will have little cross sections where their entire train system will go across a whole freight system. Different freight systems, I should say, because Chicago is a train hub, so each company has their own track. So oftentimes you'll see them just kind of cross switches like this, and the other main line will turn from here and meet and run parallel with the freight as well. So yeah, that's what this area is mostly about. I like how it turned out so far. It's just a multi-stack layered area down here, with the track being further deeper underground as it goes down the hill further down here. But that should be all of the things that we had worked on so far. However, there is one last thing that we have to work on, and that is the industry itself. So before I stated that we have industry. Not a lot. Definitely not a lot. We have built a lot of factories, I should say. Factories and shipping ports. But nothing really too extravagant. This is where, I place a bunch of assets here. Not really many industrial buildings like you see over here. Most of these buildings over here are non-functional, except for these transformers. But other than that, everything is really non-functional, besides the piers and some of these factories. But over here is where we want everything to be properly built. We're going to take our full time. This might be a multi-part series, or episode, I should say, just because it's quite the big project. Building the other pier took nearly, I'd say, about 2 weeks to finish. not full time, just 2 weeks of me streaming to finish. Over here, if I sit down and just pay attention, this should take at least total, I would say around 7 hours to finish. Just because the things that I want to do for part 1, I want to lay out all the roads, all the tracks, and clean up the topography. And maybe even place some buildings down, but I'm not too sure yet. We'll see how long this video would become. Part 2, we're actually gonna go way back to episode 2 of the City of Davesport. We're gonna rebuild our power and water infrastructure. We're gonna combine the two. We're gonna keep it here, but we're really just gonna change the way it looks, because it's very outdated, I should say. This is back when I first learned how to use services, and you can see it's just very meh. So we're gonna redo this whole area coming soon. Not today. That one would take far too long, so we're gonna separate that as well. And I kind of also want to get some little tips and little tidbits of what you guys have to say after we after we begin to formulate what we're doing here, after we finish this episode here. But for starters, this highway has to be built. We're gonna make a new exit in the back as well. Place down our series of tracks. Now here we only have 2 tracks. This will split up into like maybe 20 tracks. There will be another yard placed in here, like another train on the rail yard, I should say, placed within here, and as well as another yard going straight to the boats, and maybe one that's connecting offshore, similar to this over here. Just because you oftentimes see these, and I'm actually gonna give you a little piece of inspiration that we're going to do today, just to give you a little hint of what I'm attempting to do. As for our inspiration here, we are going to take our place right into Seattle, Washington of the United States. Seattle is one of the few places that really just has one large pier industry compared to many other cities because they're mostly inland. But Seattle is a city that's off the coast of the Pacific Ocean, and all ships will depart into right into Seattle to be delivered onto Interstate 5 and Interstate 90, the 2 long interstates of America. Interstate 90 being the longest, going from Seattle to Boston, and Interstate 5 going from Canada to Mexico. They're pretty much of a long distance, but over here is our inspiration. A lot of just receiving bays and a lot of just shipping containers or trains just laid out everywhere is what we want to take advantage of. So with those 2 tracks that I had placed before, we're really going to spread them out quite far. Specifically, what I want to do is take advantage of building our own little train storage that's going to have a ton of trains on it, whether it be carriers or just being loaded or offloaded. I'll show you something similar of what I did before, just to give you a little tidbit of what it looks like. But yeah, we're going to take advantage of all these trains. Now, in terms of yard, I don't like a functional yard. I don't know if I can actually fit the space of a functional yard within here. We're just going to place a bunch of tracks and line them up all together through here, and that in itself will take quite a while. But we're also going to place down a bunch of our shipping containers, and then probably this might be a 3-parter. I'm still not sure yet. We'll see how long this takes for us to get through here. If it is a 3-parter, we'll be placing all of our buildings down within the industrial port. But for starters, we're just going to start with the roads. The roads and tracks, because that will by far probably take the most effort out of everything that we're going to do here. So we have our highways. The main road over here, you have a little viaduct in the Seattle Bridge and Route 99. We're going to take advantage of just building our own highway just to pass the time going up north. We're going to expand this land out as well, but I also want to keep this whole little pier here. Now again, I'm not going to terraform the land too much. Like, I want to keep some places of land that were you know, very vacant from before, similar to how we had the pier over here. I wanted to keep this landscape over here just for future use, and this future use I want to save it for bridges and ports. Again, now I know I said this before, I'm hoping we're saving it for bridges and ports because I want to place a little drawbridge between here. This would be like a little receiving bay in case I want to go more inland for the future use. But for now, we will take over most of this land, probably outfilling up to here. And another thing about Seattle, also I didn't tell you about the reason that I was going to use the train, but you see it over here. The trains can be loaded and offloaded through boats. So we're going to do something similar. I want to do something similar to that to see what it's like. But the thing about Seattle, Seattle's industry is dead near next door to its entire downtown, and that's kind of similar to how my city is right now, directly right next to it. So honestly, I think it's a good place to start when it comes to an inspiration. But yeah, with that being said, with all of that out the way, let's attempt to build out our network. Now I want to show you my plan as I'm going through this as well. I don't want to just go straight into it, but let me show you the plan. So here we are. We're going to begin our little build process as a car crash had just taken place. A little odd, but let's begin here. For starters, I had sunken the main highway to be placed alongside here just because there was no way for it to pass through without interrupting the highway at all. But we want this highway itself just to overlap this whole gap here. Now, about this gap, I will most likely either fill it up. By the way, there was a comment recently about this plan to become a little airport. That's not a bad idea. I like that idea. I plan to, with that idea, I might put the airport further back. I like putting the airport a little bit farther away from the city. I want them to drive to the city. So we're gonna make this highway be our little airport highway. That'll take its way all the way down through here. And that way it's a little off the coast as well. So we could actually build this more offshore. The only reason I'm holding off on building the airport, I'm trying to find a good way to build an airport. I built airports in the past. However, I don't like these assets, especially this one. I can't stand this one. So what my plan is, I want to at least make a series of taxiways. Now there were like taxiway decals that came out in the asset workshop or in the Paradox workshop, and I might use that when the time comes, I will say. But right now it's not that time yet. So back to here. I kind of want to fill in this water gap. Now, I like the idea of having just a little waterfront here, and I might still have it, but my idea is to have a series of piers kind of protrude forward, like much further, because I want space for the trains and the cargo equipment itself. But I also want two of them. We're going to put a little basin in the middle. That's where the boats will carry in, or the carriers will come in right between these two spots. And again, I don't want to alter this land too much, but I think it's too late for that. We're going to do something like so, and just kind of fill in the land between. Again, I might keep one of these rivers here, like a little stream. I may keep. We'll see how I'm feeling afterwards, but something simple like this, just kind of going through to keep our large area more, you know, centralized. We might want to make this a little bit further because, again, we will have a pier here, and the pier will be bigger. I failed to mention that last time. The piers will be a little bit larger compared to before, just because we got a sense of how the piers look in this game. So with now that being there, I know how wide I want to make this. I want to extend this out just a bit further and pull this out a bit further as well, and maybe even protrude more little notches through here as well. And with that idea actually came the thought of, well, what if I just had this road come out forward and have it turn this way into this road and to Park Avenue down here. It'll be a little bit easier of an access into downtown through this highway instead of passing straight through and going down through the city and all the way to the bridge through this one little turn here. They can maybe pass around it just a little bit, well, around all this, and just getting straight into the city instead of passing all through here, which I think that'd be a little bit nicer. But we'll see how I feel about that. If I did do this, I'd like for it to be like a small bridge. If drawbridges were in the game, I would 100% make this a drawbridge. But for now, it's a process. It's a thought process for now. It's not really something that I fully intend on doing yet. It might happen. I might change my mind the next day. We'll see. But for now, we want to label out our roadway layout. So we're going to terraform the land just so it feels a little bit more fitting, and we want our road here to split up into two directions. So first off, we want to give the road space, all the cars space to merge, and we want to make them come down, and one of them turn down right at the very beginning of this little creek line, and one going further down here just to spread the load of the cars, the width of the cars, having one divert this way, meeting into the other lot as well. And then feeding back into the highway. So this will be, there's more cars here than before. But feeding back into the highway with a new exit. Speaking of, we will have to make a new exit type. And I'm feeling something more elaborate. Not something small, not this elaborate, but something a little bit less. Because this highway also has to go into our futurely planned nuclear power plant zone. But for now, that's the entire plan of what I want to do. These little islands can stay here, but yes, we just have to build a series of, I'm not sure if I want to use quays or roads yet, but that time will come when it comes. Most likely in the Timelapse, we'll probably start to work on that, but having two little ports here. And they actually do snap within it. However, they're not really centered. Let's see if we can at least run this perfectly parallel. Something like this. We don't want too much space, but we just want enough space for at least both boats to pass. Now the question is, can boats pass between these two carriers? That's the question. No pedestrian access. There's the wrong thing here. They can. Okay, good. Sometimes they break, and sometimes they can't have that happen. But depending on how many piers you want, I think I may want 2 of them here. So I'm gonna pull this out just a little bit further, just to give more space behind here as well. Because again, this will be our main spot for where we're going to get all of our equipment from, or all of our goodies from. And again, this will change as I build, but this might have to be a little bit smaller because that's a lot of space. But I want to make enough space just for the boats to pass by. But I won't keep this here because I have to erase this. And then we're gonna continue to build out our plan through here. So let's actually place a road here just to get something to snap on site here. And we're just gonna pull a bunch, or put down at least 2. Actually, they don't snap to their other counterpart here. At least 2 docking bays here. I wonder if that's a lot. It could be a little bit too far out. I could place it further inward, but we will see how this goes. I'm gonna have a lot of trains regardless, so I'm gonna keep a bit of a space for the trains, and we do have a waterfront as well, so we'll go with that. We're gonna move or destroy this whole road layout here, and we're just gonna place a bunch of these here. Now I saved these here since day 1. We're gonna place these blank frames alongside just the shoreline or above any train that we can find. These won't be added until later. My game just crashed. But they won't be added until later. I have to resume that. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. I never had a crash like that before, but it seemed that when I mirrored this, it crashed my game. Odd, I've never seen that happen before. But it didn't save what I did before, so I tried to imitate it just a little bit. I tried to remember, but it's not the same. As I was building this, or replacing this, I thought about actually swapping it over to this side. Maybe, and then having another port on this side. I don't want them to be... I thought about this. I don't want them to be facing face to face like this. What I want to do is actually place one of these on the side here, so it just looks like a little fake carrier spot, but not having too many of these, I should say. At least having like maybe 4, but just not, you know, facing each other, just on opposite sides. That way I can get more space alongside the highways as well. I think that would make it a little bit easier. So either I face it like this, or not like this, but like so. Oops, you will not be placed down. Okay. Have to remove you. So either I do it like this, or I place one on this side. And this side's not bad. It is facing the amusement parks though, which that's the only thing that would be kind of bad, because in case I want to do something in the future and, you know, maybe make a bridge across here, but maybe I'll just keep it on both 2 ends, like this side, and just place something different over here. I will push this further back because that's a lot of space as well. I do want to make space for just trains. Trains and a lot of car parking lots. And the car parking lots will take too long. That'll probably be an on-stream thing that I can just fill in the space, because it will take a while. But yeah, that's the plan. But I will be back with you soon. We're gonna do a little time lapse of this and see how it goes. So, that being said, I will see you in a bit. Okay, let's pause for a moment here. Now what we're seeing here is we've placed most of the tracks. The only tracks that we haven't placed yet are the exterior tracks. But for the most part, I would say almost all tracks are being placed throughout here correctly. A lot of them are just tracks that just have trains just stopping inside of it, just not moving. I got a little loop track, one track to go into the warehouse over here, which we will probably connect the black line that we have down here into, which I actually can do right now and see how it looks. We do have some. Now these tracks are spaced out on purpose. We want to put these little gates around them. This is where all of our storage will be placed. All of our tall carrier. Not carrier, but those little box cars, little crates will be placed over here. I mean, stored up and lined. Now, the thing that will make this area different is the surface decal. Placing all of the surfaces, however, on here can be a bit troublesome, mostly because the area around the track on a different layer. So some things don't show and sometimes they do. Like in this case, this one just shows here. However, when wanting to pick a different surface, let's say if I wanted a concrete surface, something a little bit different, like a nice beige concrete surface. I actually don't know if this one will stick. Oh, it does. Okay. So we can do something like this. Maybe just a bit darker. The beige one is a little bit more brighter than I anticipated. So we can do something like this and just have our whole area, depending on where we want to place it. Specifically over here, we want this area to be at least a little bit more, you know, clean. Over here, however, we can stick to just a little bit of gravel. We could even use a net lane if we wanted to over here. My only qualm with a net lane is that sometimes they look nice, but at the same time, the design can be a little bit bad once protruded at the end. So let's say, for example, this one is actually near perfect. You could just see that there are some areas where the net lane does gradually stop. You see the little line right there, but this one actually might be perfect. Let's see if there's any other different designs. Like these ones are relatively just pebbles, but this one's also not bad as well. These all aren't bad at all. Actually, this one might be the style that I might use across this whole area over here. The problem becomes when merging into a singular track and when it curves, especially. Sure, it meets with the track and contorts to it. However, there aren't really any ways of, you know, shrinking that. And when placing a net lane as well, surfaces are always beneath it. They will never be above it. So this proves to be a little bit of an issue. Unless we have a surface that kind of matches it. And this one's not bad. This one kind of does match it. Yeah, that one is probably the best option to try to at least match this surface or net lane. We might as well go with this. You can't see from far, which is actually kind of nice. However, we will most likely stick with the concrete being placed around all of these little cargo cranes, as well as over here on this side. Now there's nothing here. I might actually make this one into an entire car lot. But yeah, that's mostly the plan, I should say. Yeah, different bays over here, chemicals, our little spush con. Again, there are more buildings that we have to place. Namely, we would like a vehicle factory. Paper factory is already located up here. We have all the other factories here except for vehicle. And vehicle is quite large. Vehicle takes up the entire area. Now, granted, I have 2 vehicle factories over here, so maybe I don't need them, just because they're already placed so far beyond. But other buildings, like mail, the post sorting facility, this one is actually perfect because I don't really have any of these within my city now that I say this out loud. So this would actually be a good spot to place our entire mail sorting facility. I have a train being carried down here. I still have all these tracks that I can take advantage of. All this train is here. It probably won't come nearby or near me over here, but I'm gonna drag this further into here and see how the path looks going through there. Yeah, that train's gonna turn around for now. It won't continue forward. But yeah, things like this. Post sorting facility, having its own little, its own little massive yard certain roads like that I have through here maybe will go through, maybe not. This one most likely will go through into this road. I don't know where I'm going to put this road yet. It might actually merge into this one. Speaking of which, these are 2 highways. There are no right turns from this highway. I was actually going to take one of these roads down here and have a little bridge across to feed into this area over here. So what's going to happen here is from here to here, we're going to have the road just go straight diagonal and run into this road. That way there's less of a hassle between getting to here, because that would be a bit of a pain if that were the case. But I just got to figure out where I want this road to merge, because you see here, I want all my left-hand traffic to go from the right side. We don't want no left turns here. So yeah, that's our plan for now. And I think that's what we'll end off on. We'll try to design just a bit with the net lanes and all that, but we won't go too deep into it. Not yet, I should say. Also, build the exit. Building the exit was most likely the last thing we have to do as well. And then after that, we can begin to more or less decorate our industrial area for the next time. Oh, I also added a boat line just to see how the boats look passing through here. And I thought this would be a little smaller, but this actually kind of works. It's a lot of carriers, dude. That's a lot. But this actually works a lot. So yeah, with that being said, let's continue. let's put a pause right here and see what's happening. So to start off, I placed down some of the garbage facilities, as well as the mailsman place, and some of the road maintenance has been placed down. I'm running into a little thing here where some of my surfaces tend to like glitch out from far. They've never really done that before, but I'm not sure why they're doing that now, but that's just one little minor thing. Another thing, I had forgotten that boats. Now, if you have Tygon's rail infrastructure, you could actually use them to be placed within here so the tracks are actually used rather than just sitting there being dormant. So I thought of just taking these tracks and just kind of placing them down, so that way a train can actually run down this track down here, because as of right now, no train goes straight through here. I want all of this to be usable, at least. Well, not all, but most to be usable. So as long as this portion is being usable, because like most tracks here will be used, and this one will also be used to go down into the garbage area, which I will use to transfer garbage from the downtown all the way down into this section through this track right between here. But that's how it looks so far. Now, the last thing I want to do is really just build this interchange. However, building this interchange, it might prove to be a bit difficult because I have one spare track. Oh. Oh, wow. Oh, no. That's a big accident. How did you... I'll pretend I didn't see it. But we're just going to fill in this area with a bunch of buildings. I believe putting surfaces in here will take a while, so I'll most likely complete this portion on stream, just all the surfaces, and we'll go over it before the next time. But yeah, I just want to place down the tracks as well as our little interchange here before we start, or before we exit. I shouldn't say start, before we finish part 1. But yeah, with that being said, let's continue. And welcome back. I say welcome back because it has been a few days since we've last been here. However, there have been a few errors that I've been experiencing, some that were quite game-changing, I would say. I kept getting a pop-up error of object instance, which just kept irritating me. I couldn't play the game for 5 days, nearly, until I finally fixed it or figured it out what was causing the problem. But we are finally finished. Not finally finished, but at least what we have so far on part 1 of this entire industry port. Now, what we've worked on off stream while we were trying to figure out all those errors, we were playing with a bunch of these little dirt net lanes, and I came to the conclusion that I'll use these brighter ones because before, our textures were also broken. They were very pixely, almost like TV static, to the point where it was really hard to focus on, to see, which you'll see in the past video. It was kind of horrible. But we've soon updated the pack. I shouldn't say updated. The update did come out to fix this little bitmap issue, so that's good. But however, at the time I did that, I figured we might as well try a little net lane surface to see how it looks, and I quite like this little dirt decal. Let me see if I can show you right here. This is a net lane decal by G87. It is a dirt road decal that you can place on top of tracks, and it really just makes the track look more, I guess, organic, I should say. So with that being there, it really just fits the idea of what I want here, like the little tracks, little grass peeking through, and the whole area over here. We did make our little garbage or recycling center placed over here as well. So we have the recycling plant, the incineration plant, as well as other smaller industry buildings to be placed throughout here. Up here, we do have just more, these are more zoned industry. Some are manually placed, but some are just physically zoned. You can see here, like this portion over here, the trees are rather sticking through. And as well as going further up north, we did place some trains in here while we could, as well as more of these dirt decals to be placed through here. We also did place just a little storage train. If there's one thing that this game surprisingly doesn't have, it's these double stacked trains for freight, honestly. I find that a little bit strange, so I put it on myself to at least build some over here as well. And at least some smudge to be placed over here. We have reorganized the train lines as well, so some train lines will come down here, some will pass right up through here to enter into here. I will probably make one more to travel from here to however we have left on our next industry port. And speaking of the next industry port, we'll be using this track over here and this track over here in order to branch ourselves across. Now there will be an open, a very wide, I should say, open segment here. We're gonna save this part again for bridges and ports, hoping that there is gonna be at least a drawbridge to be placed between here. And we're gonna also have this road pass between here. As we built this exit ramp here, this ramp does not connect to this road. It connects to it further back here, so I try to make it a little bit more, you know, seamless. Give them their own little turn. What are you doing here? Give them their own little turn lanes. You know, it's driving like this that makes me just want to erase people from this game. Who's in this car? I'm sorry. Let me get sidetracked. Adrian? Do you have a family? You do? Oh, you're a teen. Going to work? I'll let you live. I'll take away your car though, but I'll let you live. Yeah, I'm gonna have a road passing through here. And very low, I should say, very low clearance bridge. Again, hoping for drawbridges that really fit the idea of what I want here. However, this area over here will in fact 100% change. You can see here already, this is what I was talking about before with the traffic. Traffic will oftentimes travel all the way up here across and really get themselves stuck in a position here where they all want to come down here because that's where all their offices are and where they work. So having another way of access between here to here will prove to be very beneficial, but also the idea of changing this interchange. Not that it's a bad interchange. It's relatively wide. It's fine. It's just there's just some things that just need to be different about this area, especially this curve right here is really bad. So we will have to fix that as well. And then we can finally work on part 2. Because again, the rails, roads, this is another thing I should mention. The power distribution Power distribution is one of the things that I kind of wanted to take more seriously ever since I built the first, industry port. I like the idea of having a series of different transformers and spreading out their power, efficiently, or looking efficiently, I should say. I don't know how they really work. I'm no electrical engineer or anything like that, but it would be nice just to see that work a little bit better in this area. So I will probably make a larger belt of just power grid in this whole area, as well as remapping all of our trains, all of our water, we'll probably have more water facilities, honestly. It's been a while since I've actually checked on water in this map, and it's still pretty good. Sewage could be better, but it's still pretty good nonetheless. So I do want to at least upgrade everything, I should say. And in terms of power is actually going down just a tad bit, so it wouldn't hurt to have just a little bit more power within the area as well, just for future planning. But yeah, that's our port for now. There are a few things that I did change off stream as well. Like you see here, I put up a little third rail, but it's abandoned. Different switches between here. We have a little garbage train. I failed to mention that as well. A train that's specifically meant for transferring garbage between this portion and this portion. I'm blind. Hold up. Right here. So 2 garbage trains. However, they seem to be a little bit confused when they get a little bit jumbled up. They appear to be en route, but I can't tell if they're en route. This train must be waiting for another train, but I don't know why they derailed. A little bit odd. But yes, we transfer garbage from one side to the other. It's a one-way for garbage in this entire area without the need of garbage trucks to be delivered from here to get into the main incineration plant over here, which is also another source of transferring out power, which I will probably fix to be a little bit nicer looking. You can see right here, it does feed into a little grid here and through this power facility here, and then transfer outward into the city again to meet itself back on the other side of the city. But I digress. Thank you for joining me on this entire port today. We'll continue part 2 on the next video. Again, this will be a little bit bigger of what it's supposed to be. We'll have an open archway, or not arch, an open canal. I remember I always see a comment about it, and I think it's a good idea, so I will most likely do that. As well as fixing up this train here. You see this train, I extended this out to be a little bit further, so I want this to curve outward a little bit more, because it will be interrupting here, or just run it straight through here and run alongside the highway, which is also another option. But thanks for joining me. I will see you guys next time.